Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I really want to thank you for joining us this morning for our Education Update Luncheon. This time, I ask that Ann Scoggin, who's the chair of the Greater Beaumont Chamber of Commerce, come to the stage and offer the invocation.
Well, hello, everybody. Good to see you. Please join me in prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for this beautiful day, another day that you have made. And Lord, help us to rejoice in it and enjoy the beauty of your creation and the rhythm of seasons and all the just natural blessings. Thank you for how you bless Southeast Texas. I pray you continue to do that, Lord. Thank you for our education partners here today. I pray you bless their presentations. Help us to do all that we can to support them. I do pray for this time together, that you would bless us, bless this food. Thank you for blessing us with this special time. We do pray for all the students, administrators, teachers in our schools, that you would protect from COVID and from other things that would hinder, Lord. We just trust you for that. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ann. Could you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Please be seated. So we're really happy that we have some of our local elected officials with us today. I'd like to acknowledge them at this time. First of all, Jefferson County Commissioner elected, Mr. Vernon Pierce. We've got two commissioners from the port with us today, Mr. Lee Smith and Mr. Pat Anderson. We want to acknowledge these next three, although it's probably not relevant because you're going to see them in a minute. But Lamar University's president, Dr. Kenneth Evans. Lamar Institute of Technology's president, Dr. Lonnie Howard. And our BISD superintendent, Dr. Shannon Allen. We also have a number of BISD school board members with us today. Dr. Robert Dunn, Kevin Reese, Denise Wallace-Spooner, Thomas Segee, Daryl Antwine Sr., and Tilly Hickman. Thank you for your support. Okay. Well, it's at that time of every event where we get a chance to recognize our sponsors. Again, and every time I do this, you all ought to know that without that support, we couldn't do what we do to help our members. So, our title sponsor for the entire series of membership series is Christus Southeast Texas Health Systems. Please help me welcome Michelle Hammerly, Regional Director of Education for Christus, to the podium.
We have an education department for Christus, and we're very honored to talk to you today about what we do in our education department. Next slide. And next slide. So I am the Director of Education. I've been with Christus for 18 years in a very privileged role. And what we do is we teach our associates and
everyone that works with Christus to do their jobs better. The picture you see on the slide is my team. We're a team of 8. And as you can see, this is a recent picture. We're all masked up, and we've been masked up, I think, since March. So I have a great team. Next slide. And we're a service line model. And what that means is that we have resources that represent all the service lines in the hospital. All those service lines take care of all the patients in the hospital, so we want to make sure that our competency is extended across all our service lines. So as you can see there, we have an educator that represents our emergency department, our critical care, our medical surgical, our women and children's, our peri-op, and of course our onboarding. Next slide. With education, we're a non-revenue department. And of course what that means is we don't bring in income for the hospital. So in order to earn our keep and to stay relevant, we have to focus on service and we have to focus on quality, and that's our commitment. And so our scope of service in our department is of course orientation for all of our new associates, annual education and competency, which is something we do very, very well to keep our staff ready and able to do their jobs for all of our patients. We do a lot with compliance and quality initiatives in my department. I want to talk to you a little bit more about our nurse residency program, which we're very proud of. We're hiring a lot of local students from the community at St. Elizabeth and other facilities in Christus. We're very much involved in strategic projects for the hospital. And why I get to speak today is to talk a little bit about our student clinicals and the partnership we have with our schools. So next slide. We have a lot of school affiliations, and I'm kind of the gatekeeper to all of those contracts. We're very proud that we partner with Lamar University, Lamar Institute of Technology, Lamar State College Orange, Lamar State College Port Arthur, and of course BISD. And I'll have to tell you, as you all know and was kind of stated earlier, we had a difficult, challenging year, right? Things have not been normal. For a lot of reasons, even that for all of you, and especially at working in a hospital. But one of the things that we had to do was change our partnerships with our schools. Things got real scary for all of us, right? If we can remember back in, really it was late February, March, when we really started to have to shut things down. And we had to make some difficult decisions on how we run our business, take care of our patients, keep them safe, keep ourselves safe, and still try to do things, day in and day out. And one of the decisions we had to make, really in conjunction with our schools, was to postpone some of our clinicals. And that was a very difficult decision to make, but we all know that was the right decision to make, was the schools were working on, they were trying to work out their challenges with students, and we were trying to work out our challenges with our patients and our associates and our students. And so we postponed some of that early in the spring semester. And that was very sad. It was very sad for us because our students are part of us. Our students are part of us. They help us take care of our patients, under supervision. But the halls were very quiet in the hospital without them. We just missed them. And then later on the semester, as we got a better handle on things, we gradually brought our students back. And they are with us today. So as we made changes with COVID, we readjusted, and we're now, kind of back on normal with our student population, and very, very pleased with that. If you can see the slide, we mentor probably 250 to 300 students a semester with our local schools, as well as, some of our distance learning schools. And when I say mentor, that means that our students are actually with our staff, whether it be a nurse, a respiratory therapist, a pharmacist, all the disciplines that we have in our hospital. So, all of those students actually have, we call them preceptors or mentors, and they learn a lot. I mean, they're really getting prepared to, start their careers in healthcare, and we're very, very proud of that. We're very, very proud of what we do. Next slide. I do want to talk about something that is special to us, and that's our nurse residency program. We've always had a residency program. We do hire a lot of nurses, a lot of clinical people, but especially a lot of nurses, and a lot of them from our schools here locally. And prior to 5 years ago, we had kind of a homegrown program that wasn't taking us very far. And my boss said, hey, we need to do better. We need to do better for these students and give them a better opportunity to transition into practice. So we changed our program up, and within a year we got accredited with ANCC. And we have the best practice in Christus. And recently we renewed our accreditation with ANCC, and they gave us accreditation with distinction, which is a very high honor for a nurse residency program. It's really the highest honor in the nation you can have for a program. We worked very hard for that, not for the title of distinction, but for what that means for our program and what that means for the new graduate nurses that come into St. Elizabeth and their journey of learning in their first year, their transition from academia into actual practice. And we're very proud of that, and what that does is it allows them, we give them a calendar, it allows them a year-out education plan to know exactly what they're getting into, the expectations, the commitments, and it's a program that raises their confidence throughout the year, throughout their year, throughout their 12 months, to actually, begin to start working on their own. So we're very proud of that, and we're very proud that we hire a lot of local people here in the community. Next slide. Something that we started early this year was we dedicated some space for a student conference room. Oh, I'm sorry, can you go back to the previous one? We dedicated some space for our students to have their own conference room. The students come in from all of our schools, and they have pre and post conference, and they're always trying to find a place to be, and we accommodate them through all of our conference rooms, but we wanted a dedicated space for them. This is right outside of our cafeteria, and we never did get to kick this off because we got the idea in January. If you can see, we've got your logos. We've got your logos in our conference room. We did get permission to use those from the marketing people. But we got it ready to go, and then come March, we had to kind of shut things down. So we're looking forward to really, really normal, and we'll do a big kickoff with the schools and dedicate them to our local schools. So that's something that's special to us and special to our schools as well. I do want to say that at Christus we're proud to serve, and we're transforming healthcare, and we do this not by ourselves, but we do this together with all of you in the room. So again, it's my privilege to be here and to share these remarks with you as we hear from our school representatives. Thank you.
Before we move on to our sponsors, I wanted to acknowledge City Councilor WLP. Sorry, I'd already new glasses and I already started looking at the bottom, and I can barely see you looking at all those right now. Thanks for joining us. One of our two presenting sponsors for the entire membership series again this year is Common Sense Credit Union, and they put together a video for us. Here it is.
Hello everyone, I'm Tish Cornell with Common Sense Credit Union, and welcome to the Christus Education Update Luncheon. I want to start by saying we are extremely thankful to be members of the Greater Beaumont Chamber of Commerce and to be part of this vibrant and resilient Southeast Texas community. Throughout this challenging time, the Beaumont Chamber has truly stepped up and navigated through endless and ever-changing guidelines to ensure that our local organizations, our community leaders, and our community members have been able to still maintain connectivity, whether it be virtual or a safe distance gathering. We are inspired by witnessing our community pull together and support local to help Southeast Texas continue to thrive as best as we can. It's what we know how to do. I just want to express our deepest thank you to our speakers today for your diligent concern and your steadfast leadership for our education system, for ensuring the highest level of safety precautions and guidelines are followed to the best of our abilities for our youth, for our parents, and for our educators. Our leaders in education have been beyond challenged, all while being in the spotlight, which opens the floor for opinions and criticisms from every angle, and they have handled it with grace. As I said before, our community is resilient. We are looking forward to 2021. We wish you all a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season, and we are looking forward to what the new year brings for all of us. We hope you enjoy your lunch today, and thank you for being here.
Our other presenting sponsor for the entire series is Entergy Texas. They also have a video for us. Let's take a look.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pam Williams with Entergy Texas, and I'm coming to you today from a virtual environment, as are many of my other coworkers who are joining today's event. We are so pleased to be a sponsor of this membership series luncheon. We look forward to what our educators are going to share with us today. We're at that time of the year that is just wonderful, and where we think about giving more than receiving. And that brought to my mind today that while our man hours that we typically give back to our community through volunteerism were a bit hampered this year, but I was pleased that we at Entergy Texas have been able to give back more than $1 million in shareholder funds to help those in need and our communities thrive. And we are just glad that we are able to do that. We want to continue that through the end of the year. So join with me as we here at Entergy shop local wherever we can. That's one way that we can get back to our communities. And from our house to your house, we just wish you a safe, merry, and bright holiday season. I look forward to seeing you in 2020.
Texas, Centerpoint Energy, Function 4, G&G Enterprises Construction Corporation, Gulf Coast Materials, the CRH Company, iHeartMedia, KFDM, Lamar Institute of Technology, Lamar University, Mason Construction, Mobile Oil Credit Union, Optimus Steel, Port of Beaumont, Regina Rogers, Restep Marketing, Spindletop Center, the Medical Center of Southeast Texas, and Total Petrochemicals and Refining USA. Thank you for all your support. Also want to recognize our photo booth sponsor for the entire, it's Bill Clark Pest Control. And I know that we're all masked up and everything, but there's a really nice winter setting back there when you leave. Get some pictures before you head out, so please take advantage of that. Special thank yous go to LIT and North Star Music for the AV support. You know, we've obviously gone from 200 to 300 people packed in to kind of a hybrid model with all of you taking time out of your schedule, and then we have 100 plus people watching us from a streaming perspective. So without their support, we couldn't pull that off. So thank you guys very much. This is our final membership luncheon of the year. One round of applause for all of our sponsors who have supported us throughout a very interesting and difficult 2020. Thank you. Okay, so let's find out what's happening in education in our area. We have a star-studded lineup coming at you, so I think it's great. And just to let you know, if we have time at the end, we're going to bring all three presenters up on stage for a little Q&A, but we'll play that one by ear. Our first speaker today is Dr. Kenneth Evans. His bio is in your program, and we're painstaking, I'm talking painstaking, to put the program together for you, but I want to read his bio to you. Dr. Kenneth Evans is the 15th president of Lamar University. He began at Lamar in July of 2013 after more than 6 years as dean and Fred E. Brown chair at the Michael F. Price College of Business at the University of Oklahoma. Prior to OU, Evans served in a variety of administrative roles at the University of Missouri-Columbia, where he also held the Pinckney C. Walker Professorship, and at Arizona State University, serving as faculty member in marketing. Evans received his doctorate from the University of Colorado, his MBA from Cal State Sacramento, and his undergraduate degree from Cal Davis. His research has been published in the most prestigious marketing and business academic journals and has received national and international recognition for his contributions in many of these publications. Evans is an award-winning teacher and has been particularly recognized for his work in the design and implementation of interactive learning experiences in graduate education. Additionally, he has acknowledged for his role in building program initiatives that provide primarily undergraduate students access to opportunities to study abroad. Major initiatives by Evans at all three of his previous academic institutions were focused on improving faculty quality and research and teaching design and implementation of new programming and recruiting and retention of high-quality students. In fact, we're going to hear a little bit about that. His time at LU has been no different. The success he's had, along with that of each of the universities that he served, is grounded in the partnerships struck with the community, business, and other key stakeholders. Prior to entering academia, Evans worked in the transportation industry in various marketing and sales capacities, and has been actively involved in sales and sales management consulting in the banking industry, convention sales, and financial services. Please help me welcome Dr. Evans.
Thank you, Bill. I hardly recognize that person. Before I begin, let me share with you a confession that this presentation is devoid of all visual stimuli. So if you are a cognitive processor visually, too bad. What I'm going to share with you is really a bit of a narrative, actually. This has been, as Bill indicated, rightfully so, a fascinating year for higher ed in general, and more specifically for our area. I'm going to take you back for a second because there's an aspect of Lamar University that very few people in this room are aware of. When Rita and I quit, Rita in 5 and I 2 years later, this university, Lamar University, was reeling from its impact. We experienced substantial loss in enrollment. The community, of course, was reeling as well. And we were fortunately presented an opportunity by an alumnus of Lamar University to look at a technology that was beginning to be advanced in higher ed that could be a game changer. There are very few institutions that are participating in this space, so we took a massive leap. And that massive leap was in the online education space. We began in the College of Education and Human Development and offered our first programs in ed leadership, and then later added in counseling and then ultimately an educational doctorate program. Now, mind you, when we started, we weren't terribly popular. We were considered rogue in the most unpopular connotation of that. But today we have over 12,000 graduates from that program, those programs. A third of the superintendents in the state of Texas are graduates of that program, and a quarter of the principals are graduates. Now, I am not going to paint a rosy picture because Frankly, it wasn't. At the outset, we had every institution, public institution and private institution in the state of Texas coming at us. They were trying to shut us down. They did everything they possibly could, including legislation, to try to shut down what we were doing. It actually took us writing a bill in the legislature to stop what was happening. Now, mind you, what's fascinating about that is the reality is that the students that were graduating from our program were performing better on the principal and superintendent exam than anybody who sat for it. So the stunning contrast was, while there were quite a few protesters, of course, about what we were doing, the reality is that our performance was exceptional. So obviously over time, online degrees have become a much more accepted vehicle for delivery. And of course now the online modality has now virtually the entire world has received educational products. And I might add, and I'll share with you in a moment, a large part of the ability to receive that has been a function of what Lamar University has done. We were better poised than probably any other institution in the country, with the exception of a few major players in the online space. So now let me take you into the present. We entered spring break, watching what was going on in New York, Seattle, Washington, obviously paying attention to what was happening in Italy, and we're concerned about what we were seeing. Shortly after we entered spring break, we decided to extend spring break by at least a week. Shortly after that decision was made, literally no more than about 24 to 48 hours, we decided to shut spring semester down in the entirety for the remaining part of that semester online. That in turn resulted in us rolling summer school online. And then we used the summer as an opportunity to calibrate how we would deliver curriculum in some kind of a hybrid fashion, much like we're doing today, online and potentially also face-to-face. The logistics, those of you that have been dealing with it know, are quite extensive. It requires a massive engagement by your facilities team and your security team and your faculty and administrative team, and an amazing team effort to be able to pull off what we've done. Now, how well have we done it? Lamar University this fall is just a shade short of 17,500 students total enrollment. This is the largest enrollment historically this institution has ever experienced. The majority of our head count is online. But truth be told, student credit hours, which is actually the bank account for higher ed, those are the students that are obviously paying for tuition. Student credit hour count is actually higher for the residential population than it is for the online population. Now, when all of this occurred and we began to roll online, mind you, not all of my faculty know how to teach online. And so those faculty that were online facile reached out to that community of faculty and helped them achieve some semblance of competency in that space to be able to deliver curriculum. Now, the reality is that not all of our students had access to online capability. We converted 4 of our parking lots into Wi-Fi hotspots, so students could pull in with their car, open their laptop, stay socially distant, and be able to access the curriculum from their courses. And mind you, we're talking large parking lots, we could accommodate hundreds and hundreds of students. Moving classes online was very challenging for a large number of our students. The reality is when we rolled into the fall semester, we were looking at a potentially rather significant decline in re-enrollment of students. It became an all-hands-on-deck process. Everybody was calling everybody, and we were doing everything we could to try to retain the student population. We ended up losing very, very few students, but we had to find ways to help them navigate this new experience, and we're finding ways to help them understand what it's like to be an online student. Now, what will happen when we leave this environment, this COVID environment, and move back to, quote, new normal? The reality is that many institutions, for the first time in their history, have discovered what online education can do. Those of you that know a little bit about cognitive processing, and have looked a bit at the learning and reading and math and science literature, know that cognitive processing both happens in a synchronous and asynchronous fashion. And what I mean by that is for many kids, I was like this, I'm in the classroom, I'm processing this as a lecture and I'm getting it. And I'm writing it down and I'm using that to reinforce my learning skills. But by and large, I'm getting it as they're presenting it. For a large number of students, that is not the case. For them, they learn asynchronously, which means they have to back away. They have to see the material offline, review it again, potentially see it. I'm sorry, I'm not using visual stimuli, but using visual stimuli, using alternative ways of accessing the information. Now, mind you, when you look at the literature in this space, one of the things that's very telling is intellectually, they're no different. Their IQ is no different. It simply has to do with the way in which they process information. So by bringing online education alternative modalities into our space, we're going to access kids that otherwise we have been losing. We've been losing at a rate that continues to this very day. So the fascinating part about this is we're going to get better. We're all going to get better as a function of what we do educationally. I'd also add, and Shannon will probably talk about this a bit, that one of the great alarming aspects about this whole transition to online is that the K-12 community, that instructional community, will not really have access to learning skills and how to teach online. And so what we're seeing in the high school level, particularly 10th and 11th graders, 12th graders, is a relatively high dropout rate. And it's becoming stunningly alarming nationwide. Shannon can probably share with you the statistics occurring in the BISD area. But when you look at what is causing this, some of it's the function of the home environments these students are in, not being able to find spaces to be able to secure an environment to learn, and there's a variety of other things about access. But the truth of the matter is a large part of the problem has to do with the fact that faculty have not been taught how to teach online. That is what Lamar University has been doing ever since the pandemic. We have 12,000 alumni across the state of Texas. They have become empowered. They're reaching out to the entire Texas community and helping various ISDs help facilitate the online educational process. I'm going to share with you a couple of stories about some of those people and what they've done. Dr. Barbara Rivera is an Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning at Bryan ISD in Bryan, Texas, a Lamar University alumna, of course. He also I'm talking about. She's helped the entire district adopt and implement a virtual program, hard to believe or not. Bryan ISD, a district that generally serves the lower socioeconomic status demographic, where a high percentage, 76% of the population receives free and reduced lunch, had no learning management system whatsoever. The first week of the pandemic, the district first purchased Schoology, a program that automatically integrates with the district's student teaching information system, and more than 1,200 teachers were trained in 48 hours. And they completely launched a teaching a student online program within 2 weeks. Patience Blythe Creech, computer science pathway teacher in Ellerton High School, also I might add, prepared a series of four-part video series which helped teachers teach online, and she did it almost instantly because of what she had learned in the program that she took from Lamar. And more stunning than those two is Cardinal Keisha Taylor is the center of the provision of wireless coverage for students. Dr. Taylor graduated from law in 2018 with her doctorate in educational leadership and is the National Education Administrator for T-Mobile, overseeing, among other initiatives, Project 10 Million, a 10-year commitment to students designed to provide free internet service and free Wi-Fi hotspots to 10 million student households in need across the country. Project 10 Million gives 100 gigabytes of internet access a year to students who meet the eligibility requirements, particularly have to do with free eventually reduced programs. To date, they've almost impacted 2 million students. Actually, BISD, I believe, has 19,000 students connected through this program. And additionally, the company is engaged in a number of low-cost provisions of product to a variety of needy individuals that are part of their system. Dr. Taylor has been named the 2020 Digital Equity Innovator by the Federal Communication Commission by providing students across the country with vital global connectivity during the pandemic. Lamar University is a unique institution. By any estimation, there are very few institutions in the country that could make the declaration of being as resilient as we are. Heck, pandemic, two hurricanes, plant explosion. Our stunning ability to be agile and adaptive has made this institution as remarkable as it is. Now, mind you, what it also does, almost indirectly, but somewhat directly, is imagine the product we produce. This is a student who didn't get it served up on a plate. This is a student who had to figure out a way to navigate through all the challenges that life throws at you, and then take that skill set and move it into the public forum for better education for the public. We're proud of what we do. I'm proud of my faculty. I'm proud of my staff. And more importantly, I'm proud of our graduates that will contribute to society. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Evans. Next, we're going to hear from Dr. Lonnie Howard. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about him. So Dr. Lonnie Howard's life exemplifies the American dream. He was born in a 4-room shack, no indoor plumbing, placed in remedial high school classes, delayed enlisted in the U.S. Army at the age of 17, and worked as a janitor. Despite this, Dr. Howard has twice been a college president CEO, having led Clover Park Technical College in Lakewood, Washington, and now Lamar Institute of Technology here in Beaumont. He is one of the nation's most visionary and innovative 2-year college leaders. Interestingly, not considered college material himself, he did not graduate until the age of 36 with an associate's degree in welding. 12 years later, he had earned five degrees. The last one being a PhD from the University of Texas at Austin with a 4.0 GPA. I can't beat that. Dr. Howard also completed postdoctoral training at Penn State, Harvard, and the University of Southern California. With nearly 100 national, state, and local presentations, he is a sought-after speaker, and you get the chance to hear him today. Then, too, this former janitor has helped fundraise and develop $19.2 million, as well as given out of his pocket 8 presidential scholarships and created his Your First Year of College is Free on Me program. As a single dad, Lonnie adopted a toddler that was sold for drugs at 3 weeks old. Today, his son is working and pursuing a PhD. Please help me welcome Dr. Howard.
Of a podium speaker, so if you don't mind, by the way, I got pre-approval to just kind of stand here. I want to make sure I social distance. But at any rate, what I want to do is have a conversation with you, new LIT strategic, right? But I want to frame this within the context. If you are Bill's age or if you have cable, perhaps you remember the show Fraser Crane, right? Fraser Crane was this fictional character. He was a psychologist, a radio psychologist. And to demonstrate the difference between listening and hearing, he would always start his call by saying, what? Oh, come on, guys. I'm listening, right? So, and that's the framework for our strategic plan. And it is, and I don't want to talk about COVID-19. It's kind of obvious everyone here has masks on. But what I want to talk about in terms of some of the latest things going on at LIT is I want to look 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, up to 5 years out beyond COVID-19. And there are a lot of things in this strategic plan that are really revolutionary, innovative, but I'm only going to focus on 6 in the interest of time. But first, I want to kind of start with the framework, if you will, for our strategic plan. Well, first of all, when I say it's new, Dr. Evans can attest, it hadn't even been approved yet. In fact, this Monday, December 7th, I will go before our Board of Regents and request formal approval for the strategic plan. But hey, get this. This thing has been years in the making. In fact, we started working on this September 17th, 2016, my presidential installation, when I first started at LIT. It is based upon qualitative and quantitative research, but it's only 8 pages long, right? So we reached out to thousands. And what you have before you is kind of a snapshot of what we did. We reached out to business and industry. We reached out to foundation members, internal, external, faculty, staff, students. We did surveys. We even had billboards up, right? And we asked simple questions like, hey, look, how do you want to see LIT look in the future? What's most important to you? And so, again, I'm going to talk about kind of what was most important. So, again, we really listened. And so here's what we heard. Well, the first thing we heard from the students. The students say, hey, look, we want LIT to be larger. We want LIT to grow, and we want you to reduce our student cost. Is that surprising? So, hey, look, we want it bigger because LIT is fantastic. And let me just say this. In terms of size, LIT is now the largest 2-year college in Southeast Texas and Southwest Louisiana. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I have to give a shout out to both of my colleagues, Dr. Evans, and I don't see Dr. Allen, but we would not have grown, we would not have been so successful without those important partnerships. So when Dr. Allen comes back in, let her know that I gave BISD a big plug, okay? No cost, no cost. So we identified a goal of 10 and 10. What does that mean? That means LIT wants to have a goal of an enrollment, credit and non-credit, of 10,000 students in the next 10 years. Well, guess what? We are ahead of schedule. Well, in fact, we reached 8,129 students as of 2019. However, with COVID-19, we did not hit our target of 9,000. So we are already ahead of schedule. We have grown 66% in the last 4 years in terms of our credit enrollment. Even with the pandemic, even though we didn't hit our 9,000, we still had an enrollment increase of 14% for the fall. I need an applause now. Our faculty and staff, that's unbelievable. And many colleges, 2-year colleges, particularly across our nation, was down. So again, that's kind of that enrollment growth piece. But here's where it gets really exciting. And I'm going to share a personal story about myself. The students say, hey, look, yeah, we want to get larger. That's fine. That's great. But make it cheaper. Reduce the cost. So this year, in terms of an update, please tell your friends and your neighbors that LIT will now be awarding college credit for their life experiences. It's called PLA. Yeah. But thank you so much. But let me tell you this story, right? You heard Bill in my bio say, well, Dr. Howard has an associate's degree in welding, right? Fantastic. Didn't earn that until I was age 36. But here's the backstory behind that. I went to welding school. I went to a community college to get a degree. I already knew how to weld. I was already certified. I was already working in industry. I could run stick, sub-arc, MIG, heliarc, do layout. I mean, I knew all of the welding things, but I didn't have a degree, right? So I went to welding school at the community college, and they said, well, hey, look, you need to start taking the basic oxy-acetylene welding. Like, nobody even does that anymore. So I'm like, well, I already know how to do this. They said, no, they laid out curriculum, right? You have to follow this step. You have to take this class. I'm saying, why do I have to repeat stuff I already know that I've learned? They said, well, I can't, don't ask us complicated questions, right? Just follow your degree plan. So, but nowadays, people such as what I went through, they no longer have to go through that, right? So if they can demonstrate a set of competencies, skills, they can now get college credit. So the conventional wisdom says if you want to cut costs for a student, well, you reduce tuition, and we've done that, right? Or you kind of share services, and we're doing that, right? But if you really want to cut costs, you get students out quicker. So to me, this is a really kind of exciting way, something that's really it's going to be a game changer because they will incur less debt. So not only did we talk to students, but we also talked to industry. And we listened to industry, and industry simply said, develop a more flexible model that both builds capacity and do it quickly, but also job skills. So those of you who are in the industry or have those connections, you are well aware, Dennis Isaacs, of the skills deficit. And despite things are somewhat slow in our area now, we cannot be stuck in the mud in terms of COVID-19. We have to get out ahead in terms of projection, for planning, and being prepared. So when this, if the vaccine works, I'm sure it will, when this thing lifts, that we'll be ready to go. And so the third thing I want to bring your attention to is the other point. Again, I was making a pretty good living when I was welding. No degree, wanted one. But it was always said then, and it's still said today, that not everyone needs a college degree. So, but they're valuable, so how can we kind of adjust and be flexible, right? So we are developing education in weeks, where we have stackable non-credit credentials. It's almost, if you can imagine, a staircase, right? Where you start out with the most basic skill set that also involves soft skills, because that's really important to employers now. And you build upon that, and it's a really outstanding model that is inherent and breeds success on success. Because as a student completes one primary rudimental skill, they can go on to the next. And these are incrementally based. And that way employers, particularly, we'll say in our area, when COVID-19 lifts, they won't have to wait years, months, or to have a skilled workforce. They can begin to get employers in more immediately to meet their needs. The second thing is, again, that's on the non-credit side. But on the credit side, this fall 2021, we're going to be launching a new associate's degree in engineering, as well as two certificates, one in electrical and one in plumbing. And if you don't think plumbing is a hot area, then, well, I see heads nodding, so you get my point. So it is really, really important. And the last two updates that I want to bring to your attention is under the notion of from the community. The community simply said, very impassionately, neighbors don't forget about neighbors. They just don't. And so what we're doing now is to make our college more of a gathering place, where we open it even more so to community events we're going to have our faculty also do service learning projects in the community. But what I'm really focused on also is upskilling South Park. LIT is positioned directly across the street. So there are through some grants that we've earned, some short-term perhaps forklift training that we can provide free to the community. So while we'll be working throughout the entire community, we're going to be looking at that neighborhood specifically. In fact, we've already have begun to work with them. And lastly, I'm closing with the biggest thing that I have, and that is for LIT Foundation members in the room, let me say thank you. And for everyone else who are trying to figure out what I'm going to say next, I'll tell you. One Saturday, Sunday, well, it was a Sunday morning, I was watching television, right? And there was this image. And unfortunately, it's repeated itself. There's this image of cars lined up for almost a mile. And our friends and our neighbors are lined up to get food. I mean, through no fault of their own, right? And that really bothered me in a way that I can't even explain to you. So I picked up the phone just arbitrarily and I called 38 individuals on our LIT Foundation board. I said, hey guys, this is not heresy, and I don't drink, so I'm not drinking, but I need $750,000, and I need it by Monday because that's when classes start. And I told them why. I said I want to provide. My vision is to provide right now 1 year of free and reduced tuition to our friends and our neighbors. Because for those who have been impacted by COVID-19, right, the unemployed, the underemployed who need to update their job skills, and those recent high school graduates. So that's a finale. So they granted my approval. I said, well, put in escrow the $750,000. Just give me $500,000. And they did. They said, we trust your leadership. And they approved it. So right now we are in the process and are providing 1 year of free tuition, 1 year of free and reduced tuition for 100 students in our community right now. So that really kind of ends my update. But I just wanted you to rest assured and know that LIT has a plan beyond COVID-19. And in the words of our illustrious Dr. Fraser Crane, LIT is listening. Thank you so much for your time.
Dr. Howard, you mentioned my age up there. We're going to talk. Our final speaker is Dr. Shannon Allen. Let's learn a little bit about her. Dr. Shannon Allen is the superintendent of Beaumont Independent School District. She made history on April 17, 2019 by being named the first female superintendent in the district. A Beaumont native and a graduate of BISD, Dr. Allen is uniquely qualified to serve the community as a leader of the district through her background and work experience of 23 years in the district. Over the years, her passion and commitment to the students in the district and the entire community has continued to increase. She earned her bachelor's of science in biology with a minor in chemistry from Prairie View A&M University and obtained her master's and doctoral degrees in education from Lamar University. She began her career and quickly found a niche in education. An advocate for all students, Allen is a focus-driven and committed to the success of the more than 17,000 students in the Beaumont ISD. It is her mission to change the trajectory of the lives of all the students so that they become the next generation of educators, innovators, business owners, and community leaders. Her focus is to improve the entire community by breaking the cycle of poverty through providing an exemplary education for every student. She continually strives to be a transformational leader and is changing the philosophy by which the work of the district is executed. Every Moment Matters, or EM2 logo, can be seen all across the district and applied in classrooms each day. Allen believes that maximizing the time and continuous improvement in all facets of the organization will yield increases in reading performance, student attendance, and ultimately attract families back to the ISD. Allen is a member of the Board of Directors of the Southeast Texas Workforce Commission, the Greater Beaumont Chamber of Commerce, the Advisory Board of the Art Museum of Southeast Texas, and she's a member of Rotary Club of Beaumont. She's been recognized for her work over the years and has been a recipient of the A&M Outstanding Classroom Teacher Award, Region 5 Middle School Principal of the Year, Lamar University's Outstanding Doctoral Student, and has been recognized by Pioneering Women. She's been married to retired educator Red Allen for the past 10 years. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Bill. Even though I didn't think you were going to read the whole thing, you know, I'm like Dr. Evans. I don't recognize that person too much. Thank you all for this opportunity. I'm especially excited to share the stage with Lamar University's President, Dr. Evans, and LIT's President, Dr. Howard, who did phenomenal jobs. But I think it is about that time. And the time it's time to stand up. I need you to stand up. We've been working for about 40 minutes, learning a lot of great information, but I think we need a stretch break. During this stretch break, this is what I need you to do. I need you to talk to your neighbor. I'm just going to give you a very short amount of time. And I want you to tell your neighbor, I want you to think back. It may take some of us a little bit longer, but think back to your K-12 experience. And I want you to tell your neighbor, what was the best thing about your K-12 experience? Do that for me. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds to wrap up your conversations and have a seat. That'll be my signal that you're wrapped up your conversations. Okay, now while I wish I could ask everyone what you said, which we don't have time, I know some people said the best thing about my K-12 experience was the teachers, right? Somebody said it was a teacher who made the difference. Somebody said it was the coursework, the activities, the extracurricular activities that I was able to participate in. I know somebody said it was the food, right? Somebody said the best thing about K-12 was the food. I know some people said recess and PE, right? I'm sure somebody said that. I want you to think about our kids today in public education, especially in Beaumont. We are striving to create those same experiences for the 17,213 students in the Beaumont Independent School District, in spite of the challenges that we face. And as an organization, we have a vision and a mission, and we are committed to that vision and mission, and our vision where we're going as a district, which is to work in collaboration with the entire community. That means you in this auditorium today, to work with the entire community to create an inclusive environment of academic excellence that supports the diverse needs of all learners. We're doing that. We're going to reach that vision by executing our mission, which is founded on 6 core principles in our organization. Number one, we believe that every single child in the district can learn, and they will learn. We believe that we should improve in every facet of our organization. We should get better at everything we do on a continual basis. And I tell you, COVID-19 has definitely challenged us there. We should make certain that every classroom has an effective teacher and that every single school has an effective principal. We believe that. All environments should be safe. We believe we should work collaboratively with the community and we should be fiscally responsible. We have worked over the past several months, just as Dr. Howard was mentioning his strategic plan. We are working to develop our strategic plan. Our board recently approved our direction for the next 4 years, and you see our goals listed on the screen for where we're going as an organization, as a district, what we're going to accomplish within the next 4 years. And we are focused on ensuring that our kids are prepared to graduate. So we're, of course, focusing on early literacy, elementary, third grade reading, third grade math performance. We are focusing on improving our students' outcomes as far as college, career, and military readiness, doubling the number of students who are going to 4-year colleges and universities or 2-year colleges and universities, just ensuring that our kids have an opportunity to have a future when they graduate. And we are committed to improving and increasing the number of high-performing campuses in the district. When you think about BISD and the goals that we are working toward, I mentioned earlier, right now, currently, we have 17,213 students. We are educating those students every single day on 3 high schools. We have 16 elementary schools, 2 of which are early learning centers. We also have 5 middle schools, and we have 3 special campuses, our alternative campus, a credit recovery campus, and a career and technical campus. We're working as a team. It's a team effort in order to educate the children in our community. As you see, our staff, we have over 1,100 teachers in Beaumont ISD. That's just the instructional staff, instructional teachers. Our total workforce is a little over 2,600 employees in our entire district. But again, we can't do the work without the community, without the business partners, without the volunteers. And I'm so proud that we continue to have the support of our community through increases in the number of volunteers, over 900 volunteers in our community, and over 126 business partners. But before I dive into how we're educating our kids during the pandemic and during COVID-19, just want to ask you a couple of questions to see if you knew some pertinent information and facts about the district. Well, last year, Dr. Evans stated it, Dr. Howard stated it, COVID-19, man, it slammed us. We were not prepared for what we were going to experience over the next several months. We started out the beginning of this year, 2020, on a high. We are focused on elementary reading, making certain our kids are equipped and prepared. We were so excited to see that our second graders at every single elementary campus, we saw improvements in second grade reading, which was one of our focuses and one of our targets. So we're very excited about that, and we're still moving forward despite the challenges of COVID to continue the progression of our students' learning. Beaumont United High School, one of our high schools, was totally renovated. Last year, you get confused sometimes with all of the hurricanes that keep coming our way. Was it a hurricane? Was it a tropical storm? What was it? And these 2 years, I can tell you, have run together. But at the beginning of last school year, you guys remember that we were hit with Imelda, right? Imelda totally decimated Beaumont United High School. So in spite of that challenge, we were able to totally rebuild a beautiful campus today for the kids when they came back for the 2021 school year. We have attracted over 200 new teachers to BISD. That is the highest percentage of teaching vacancies that we've had filled in several years. So despite the challenges, we have so many more teachers who are teaching in our classrooms, teaching our kids today. During the pandemic, we fed students in our community. We served over 318,000 meals to students in our community. So that's something that we are definitely proud of. we are still able to expand Peach MacArthur, as you know, due to, I guess it was a Melda. Yes, it was a Melda. We ended up closing the South Park campus, and we are expanding Peach MacArthur to a K-8 campus over the next 2 years with a focus on innovation and a focus on fine arts. So we're excited about that. And last year in June, first ever BISD. I think it's first ever. I'm not sure. I shouldn't say it's the first ever, but it's the first one in my 23 years being in the district. Graduated students in an outdoor ceremony. Over 1,050 graduates graduated from Beaumont ISD, from Beaumont United High School, Westbrook High School, as well as the first graduating class of the early college high school. Yes, excellent. Absolutely. And of course, our partnership with LIT allow those early college graduates to graduate with an associate's degree, most of them with an associate's degree and a high school diploma. That's life changing, that's game changing, and that's what our organization is about. And then, of course, we received an A plus on our first rating, which is the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, which rates how we handle our funds in public schools. And the last bit of information that I want to share with you, the tax rate. Most of you all live in Beaumont, you live in the city, you live in the area. If you have not noticed, the tax rate has gone down. The tax rate has been compressed over the past 2 years, and BISD, the board has voted continually to reduce taxes. Currently, our tax rate is $1.22 with a total of over 9 cent decrease over the past 5 years. So definitely want to share that information with you. Yes, that's good news. That's more money in your pockets. So thinking about the pandemic in March 2020, which we will never ever forget. I was in my office. We had a meeting the day before we got out for spring break with the team, and we said, well, we need to kind of start thinking about this pandemic thing. This COVID-19. Ms. Angelo, who's the curriculum C&I director, said, Dr. Allen, I think we need to really be paying attention to. You're hearing about things, but you're still working. We're working, not really truly understanding the severity of what was coming down the line, not knowing that, as Dr. Evans stated, we wouldn't come back. We didn't know that. So we worked to, over the course of the next several months, of course, continue out the school year and educate our children. How are we going to get our kids educated? How are we going to continue the learning for our students? So that was our focus from March to the end of the school year. Next, how are we going to transition to a 2021 school year when you really don't know what to expect? Guidance is changing. Things are changing on a daily basis. What do you do? One of the things that we've been very strategic about is stakeholder input and stakeholder feedback. We've had to make tough decisions, and I've often stated to the team, it doesn't matter what decision you make, it's the wrong decision for 50% of the people. So how do we make the best decisions for our stakeholders, our parents, our students first, our teachers, because nobody knows what to expect. So we utilize a platform called Thought Exchange. I love it. Excellent opportunity to crowdsource and really get detailed information on what people are thinking about the decisions that you're making. So next slide, please. We have utilized that platform to continue to make the best decisions that we possibly can. So utilizing feedback from Thought Exchange, we were able to, of course, develop our reentry plan. So what was school going to look like when we started in 2021 this school year? What was it actually going to look like? How was it going to work? How are we going to educate 17,213 students? So we developed a very comprehensive reentry plan and received feedback there. We also utilize the platform to get feedback on our calendar. The public school calendar is very important. Of course, it's important to our parents, our working parents, our teachers and staff. How are we going to utilize the time that we have? In public education, you have to educate 75,600 minutes in a school year. So how are you going to manipulate those minutes to keep your kids safe and ensure that they're learning? So we utilize our Thought Exchange data to make different decisions that we've had to make regarding our school calendar. In our instructional continuity plan, how do you keep instruction going, both asynchronous and synchronous, both in person and face-to-face going, so that kids continue to progress, so that they continue to learn? And first and foremost, safety. Every thought exchange that we launched, one of the number one priorities, no matter what the question was, how are you going to keep my kids safe? Teachers, how are you going to keep me safe if I have to come back face to face? How are we going to be safe? So we utilize that platform to make informed decisions. And once we had those major tasks formulated, okay, now we're going to focus on making certain everything is safe for our students, making certain they still attend and engage daily, number two. And number three, making certain that our students are still increasing in student achievement. So safety, of course, I know everybody's tired of talking about COVID-19 and the safety, but it's still a fact of what's happening. Cases are going up. They're going up in BISD. In fact, this week we are actually learning remotely, all students, because of course, we want everyone to follow the rules. We want everyone to be safe. But because we had an escalation in the number of cases in our district, we switched to remote learning for this week, and our students will be back face to face next week. We, of course, have a massive number of safety precautions in place that we're following within our schools. But we also are tracking cases and being very transparent. You can go to our website and you can look on our COVID-19 tracker and you can see the number of cases on every single school in every single area. That is important to parents. That is important with parents making the decision to bring their kids back in school. So we want to make certain that we've been transparent with those things. So, of course, the number one focus is to ensure that our students are learning. I said in March we had to continue instructional continuity and continue with our students learning. We recognized early on that we needed to put devices in the hands of our students. We did not have devices for all of our students. We had Wi-Fi hotspots for every single student, but not an actual device at the time. We were the recipients of a T-Mobile Empower Education grant the year prior, which afforded us to purchase hotspots for every single student. So we were prepared on the Wi-Fi front, but we weren't prepared for the devices. So we invested, next slide, a previous slide, I'm sorry. We invested, yes, over $4.3 million in devices. We have purchased over 19,000 devices for our students and our staff. Now we're still waiting on these devices to come in. They're coming in slowly because, of course, across the entire nation, devices were in high demand. But we expect that, by early next year, of course, or maybe by the end of this year, I hope we'll have all of the devices that we purchased in the hands of our children. We have tablets for our pre-K through 2 students that we purchased, Chromebooks for our 3rd grade and 12th grade students, and of course we purchased laptops for our teachers so that they can continue instruction. Because we recognize that if we wanted to ensure that our students were achieving and make certain that everything was equitable, we had to ensure that devices were present in their hands. So today in BISD, we have about 50-50 when we go to our schools. Many students are still taking advantage of virtual learning. 52% are learning virtually. 48% are actually attending school face to face in the classroom. So when you look at our schools, you see kids learning, you see instruction going on, but you don't see all of the students there that you would normally see. You may go in the classroom and you see students who are learning virtually on the screen, their faces, and then the students in class learning face to face. I have a short video I want to share with you that kind of gives you a glimpse of what it looks like right now.
This has been a historic year for education, an era of change and adaptation. In a time where the future was unknown, we never once backed down. The staff never lost sight of our mission, making every moment matter for them. Teachers looked at the challenge at hand right in the eyes and said, "I think I can do this." One day at a time they did.
Virtual or in the classroom, if I bring the correct energy and excitement to my class, it goes really. Looking forward to
just taking it one day at a time, dealing with challenges as we're faced with them,
So
and
I'll go ahead
mainly
and stop it. Go ahead and go to the
looking
next
for
slide because it's difficult to
solutions.
hear. So you can't get the full effect without actually hearing what the teachers were saying. But I'll tell you what they were saying. Three teachers were interviewed, and you had some glimpses of what on-campus instruction is actually looks like. But the teachers are telling you it was a challenge, and it is a challenge. It is an ongoing challenge every single day. But they are learning. You know, Dr. Evans mentioned about the massive amount of instruction for teachers to understand and how to learn how to teach online. We've been doing the exact same thing, really pushing down professional development for our teachers to teach them how to teach virtually. For BISD, our teachers are teaching both virtual students and face to face, which has made their jobs so much more challenging. They had to rise to a level of expectation that they never would have thought they could rise to. You know, and I've been known for saying we can do hard things. We absolutely can. And they are doing a very hard thing right now, balancing both face-to-face instruction and virtual students and learning on top of that and taking attendance because the system is so different. We've done a 180-degree shift. So that was a serious problem and concern for us when we received feedback from our teachers. You know, how do we give them more time? So we launched a half-day Friday initiative in November. So for November and December, we're really piloting it. We've been giving our teachers a half day on Friday. So we dismiss school early. So teachers get roughly 3 hours to utilize that time to actually plan so they can be better prepared and have better lessons for our students, grade papers, do assignments, do whatever they need to do so that they can be better prepared to reach and teach our children. So we launched that initiative in addition to, and I think I removed the slide, a recapture initiative to recapture our students. You know, our students are struggling. When students are not in school face to face, and we definitely want them back face to face. Many of our students are struggling in the virtual world because it's a new world. So we've developed a recapture initiative where students can recapture some of the grades, some of the learning, because of those foundational works that they need to complete in that first grading period up until December. Okay, next slide. So I just have a few more things I want to share. We are, of course, ramping up the request for volunteers. You know, you all may have heard of our Roar program, which is a reading initiative that we have for our second grade students. And we definitely are looking for virtual volunteers. That program is live and well. We have ramped it up and are really looking for individuals who want to take about 30 minutes a week to help read to a second grade student. So if that's you, you know you have information that we will allow you to definitely sign up and participate in that program. And the last thing, one of the last things I want to share is that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that we're going through a pandemic right now. COVID-19 changes nothing. It changes nothing about our mission, and the expectation that we have for our students. Our students still have to graduate. That they are still expected to graduate. The state, I'm frequently asked the question with Dr. Allen, will the children have to take the STAR assessment? Yes. STAR testing was waived last year. It's not waived this year. So right now, students are still required to take the STAR test this year in order to meet the graduation requirements and all the promotion requirements. And of course, our students must succeed. They must succeed. So what do we need from you in my last slide? Is we need your support. We need you to encourage and utilize your platform to support BISD. Support Beaumont, Texas. This is our community. As long as you live in Beaumont and you pay taxes, you should be a supporter of the school district and how we educate the children in the community. So be an advocate for BISD, be an advocate and volunteer and support our work. So this concludes my presentation. I thank you so much for your attention. And before I conclude, I want to recognize our school board members. So 5 of them came out today. Give them a round of applause. They support us in everything that we do. And I also have several team members present, my executive leadership team. Several members are present today. I appreciate their support. Can't do the work without them. And our CTE team, the ladies of CTE are here to support the work that we do. So thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Very much appreciate that. You know, you heard all three of these folks use the word partner or partnership in what they're doing and why they're doing it so well. And I just want to bring one thing to your attention. This time next year, we will be in month 3. Well, you all know Leadership Beaumont, right? Probably the majority of the people in here have gone through that program. This time next year, we'll be in month 3 of a junior leadership program for juniors in high school because of a partnership with BISD. Thanks, Shannon. Couple things. Please join me in one last round of applause for our 3 leaders that came and spoke today. And we have little gifts for you. Don't leave before I catch you, please. Why did we think it was important for you to hear all 3 of these folks at one time? Well, I would imagine that either you are or you will be hiring employees at some point. And you know what? There's your stock right here. It doesn't matter what job, the majority of the folks are coming out of those 3 institutions. So we really wanted you to hear how things are coming along, especially in challenging times with COVID. We're going to be back with you in February. Mayor Ames is not here to say no, so I'm going to say that she will be doing the State of the City. So that's fantastic. We're looking forward to that again. A couple other things before I let you go. We want your feedback. They're all doing continuous improvement, and we're trying to do the same thing. On your table, this little piece of paper, about size of a playing card, has a QR code in it. I would very much like you to either utilize that or the survey that we will send out tomorrow just to get some feedback. How do we do this better? How do we make it more worthwhile for you to be here? Understand that you're busy, and especially now, not only are you busy, but there's a challenge in getting out amongst everybody. So I need to hear from you so we can do a better job for you. All right. So we don't have time for Q&A. I apologize for that. But again, thank you all for being here. I want to thank our sponsors one last time. Great year. Really appreciate your support. Thanks to the Holiday Inn for their food and their room that we're able to use. I think we were able to space that out well enough. I hope you feel comfortable from a safety perspective. And I want to thank you all for your attendance today. Have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.